for for cases where you want it to happen maybe at the end of the reverse cycle. So I worked with one company that used to do a 2 sprint, for instance. The first week of the project is specifically for development, just consignment. The last week I have 2 days where they don't push anything. So for those kind of situation, it means for 2 days I have the system to myself, break as I want, and then give feedback. There's also a case where the team who want that I give them and testing as they're developing, so you can make changes and testing it instantly. Both have, like, I've seen the good parts of the two of them. Good parts of it. And testing is not something you do just once. In academics, I want to say testing, do this, but testing is not what you do once. Once there is a change, like even if it's little or small, then your testing cycle starts all over again. I think I've worked with someone on here, and you can attest to that. You can make a change and then I'm starting all over again. Because for startup projects or new systems, you don't want to take chances. You could have a case where the model form is working, but it's no longer working. Or you could have a case where the CPDs or what things like that are working previously, but just little change, it doesn't work anymore. So I'm sharing my screen because I want to show you how a typical text document could look like. Let me know when you can see my screen. So what I wanted to explain was for QA testing, you typically have your document explain a feature, what it's supposed to do, what it's not supposed to do. So you have what's called expected outcome and actual outcome. So for expected outcome, you have a case where you put in what's on the spec documentation. So for instance, verify that the text is to verify that users CPD get loaded one day on the platform. So expected outcome is that as a user, once I log in, I see my CPD. Notes the word my CPD is loaded on the platform. Actual outcome. What you expect from the actual outcome is that the CPD loads, 1. 2, the CPD that loads is my own CPD. You understand? Then if it doesn't meet either of these criteria, you're flagging it. So for a tester, you need to be checking, okay, is it as intended? If it doesn't, if for instance it shows some of my CPDs and not all of my CPDs, it's an error. If it shows all of my CPD, what if I go to a different page to show my CPD? Let's not suppose it's an error. If it shows my CPD and somebody else's CPD, it's an error. So that is why you probably will be having, as developers, you're having issues with your QA tester, because it's saying it does not work because of this. I've had cases where, for instance, you see on here, I have this description of what I want the endpoint to do. This is what I expect the endpoint to do. To return the rec stats, for instance. And then instead of returning just what's called the rec stats, it shows me, for instance, the rec overview or something else. No, it's not what I want. Because so for here, I had this issue. The developer resolves it, and then I have another issue. Yes, it works for everything here, but if I specify a particular parameter, it gives me an error. So for QA, you have to go to the detail of what I expect each particular system to do. Do I want them to this case I keep is of CPD. Do I want the CPD to be CPD displays would I find the first point at the first point of logging in? Then there is then a filter to filter by year or month. What happens if I filter by year? Does it show me the exact CPD for the year? Does it not show me the exact CPD? Any error, no matter how big it is, I'm flagging it. And then that brings me to the next part of QA, which is hierarchy of bugs. So typically when you want to list your bugs or you want to class your bugs, you have three main hierarchy for your bugs. You have the critical bugs, you have the high bugs, and then you have the low bugs. So that's priority levels. So for critical bug, which is as the name sounds already, is pretty very important. So critical bugs are bugs where the user, first of all, does not have a way to escape from. So it impacts money. So if, for instance, an e-commerce, the company is going to lose money because of that bug. Also is a bug that just or either stops the user from using the application if it's even if it's not an app that generates revenue. So, for instance, you log into a system and for some reason you have a system crash. That's a critical bug because the user cannot use the system. That's very critical to the flow of the system. Then you have high bugs. High bugs are bugs such that you might be able to continue if you are well experienced on the system. Say, for instance, you log into an application that displays CPD, and then the button to get more CPD does not work. Maybe it shows an error, or you click on it, there's a server error, for instance. Ideally, you might want to call that a critical bug, but if there's an alternate way for you to claim more CPD, that's a high bug. But if there's no alternate way, that's a critical bug. Then the last on the list is low bugs. So low bugs usually appear in two different ways. We have visual or content-based bug. So visual bug in the sense that you could have a button overloading, overlapping a text, or you have an image not being displayed correctly, or image is broken. That's a visual bug. It's low on the list. Why is it low? The user can continue using the system. You get it doesn't affect the point system in the case of CPD that I'm using. CPD, let me look for something local that can explain this. So you have, you know how Jam is Jam Portal, for instance. The Jam Portal will typically ask you questions, and then when you're done, you get your points at the end. So if the user cannot take the exam because he came to the platform and had an error, so he could not take the exam, that's critical. So the person doesn't get their exam score at the end. It's a critical bug. Then, but if he comes to the platform and is so difficult to use, he clicks on get started or start your exam, and it takes a while to load. And when eventually it takes click this alternate button, that's high. You've resolved it, he has a way to go or proceed, but you are impacting the user experience severely. It's a high bug. Now for visual or content bug, which is a low bug, he logs in and it shows his name partly displayed or his email is not complete. That's low because okay, he can infer this might be me and he can continue. It doesn't stop the flow altogether.
Yes, sir, we're together.
Okay. Yeah. So like I'm done, what are the essential skills you need for queuing? To be or to do a proper queuing, you need certain skills. First, you need to be able to do documentation. Um, if you take a course, like if you take a career path in queuing, you eventually might be using Excel spreadsheets often. Um, Kanban board, project management, you have a bit of that skill, you want to pick up a bit of that skill. Then technical writing, just a skill that you then get to develop. Um, that's basically it. The other parts. If you want to then go into automated part of it, then a little bit of programming knowledge is required. Um, for me, like I mentioned, I work with Cypress, and you can get your um, yeah, can get your content from docs.cypress.io, or you can also check out Playwright. Somewhere. So, well, basically, they will require you to set up your environment. If you can't set up your environment, you get a developer who will set up your environment for you. And to test, get a project, the first part you need to do is to understand the project. It means you have to like understand how to read English because most of your projects are going to be written in English. Then once you get that, you break your system down. Like the requirement, the positive part is everything the requirement says it should do. I'm trying to, how will I put it, display without breaching NDAs so that while I can share this and not exactly share this, I can see your streaming. Um, yeah, so example of Cypress. Cypress. Yeah. So for those who are interested in going through maybe automation, you could check out this. Yep. So I might have to share my screen, please. But I might have to share my screen. Uh, I might share my screen. Okay, yes, I am. Okay. So I think what I can display for you is something like this. So Postman, it's a very good worker. I I'm assuming, please, you need to be audible. For Postman, you're used to Postman already. This kind of speak. Hello.
Well, sir, from my end, the audio is breaking.
The audio is breaking. Is
Yes,
it
sir,
better
from my
now?
end, it's breaking.
Any other person?
Good morning, sir. From my end, is the same thing.
I didn't say anything. Okay. Well, that's. But have you got anything from all I've been saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So my question was, are you all used to Postman?
Yes, sir, we've started using Postman of recently.
Okay. So for a QA tester, especially if you are going to be testing APIs, you will need to get familiar with Postman. It's your go-to. There are other options for most popularized Postman. Um, Helps you to test APIs, basically, to do what you're going to do on the front end. If you get it right on the API end, majority of your work is reduced. So, say for instance, you have a, a website that for you to get user login it needs an OTP, for instance. Now, if you're tested the Postman that you can't access resources unless you are logged in and you cannot log in unless you complete the OTP. If you've tested it on Postman, on the front end, it's going to just work. Is on the front end, what then will be your issue is going to be things like visual box or things that have to do with it's either going to be a critical bug or a low bug. Why do I say so? Critical bug in the sense that maybe the server is down. If the server is down, then you're seeing that okay, the whole of the app is crashing or something is failing. Memory issues, the system like being built requires a particular size of memory, and then the users or the client's device doesn't have that enough soft storage. Uh, and if that's not the case, it's then it's going to just be front end minor issues, which are not issues. I know as a tester, I shouldn't be saying that, not issues. Well, they are not issues in the sense they are low. There are lots of applications that are very popular and they ship with low bugs. So you can ship your products with a low bug, but you should not be shipping your products with a high or critical bug altogether. You still hearing me? Okay. So this is thank you so much. Am I still breaking up Lynn and Manasseh?
No, sir, it's much better
Yes,
now.
sir. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's much better
Oh,
now.
that's good. Thank you so much. Um, okay. Um, so where to go from as a QA, you also need to ask the what if. So I'm testing an application at the moment, which is what's being shown here. testing the application. So one of the things I do is they expect developers, both the front end and the back end, they expect that when the user comes onto the platform, they log in, do the authentication, and then if they want to connect to additional service, they just click on the button, click agree every time. Yes, that's what the developer is going to check when he's building. We're just going to check, okay, click on agree. The person is connected, they're connected to the external service. For me as a tester, or for you as a tester, for those who are going on to do testing, that's not the part. That is just one end of the part. For the happy part or the positive test case. So you test, the user comes to the platform. Next step, the user clicks on the connect Google Auth, for instance. Next, the user says, I agree, and continues. Next, the user connects to the application, fine. But as a tester, the user comes to the platform. He does not accept the Google Auth button. He just goes on to try to use the application as though he has connected the Google Auth button, because it's a legitimate error by a user. He tries to access it. If he can access it without doing the Google Auth authentication, it's an error already. So it's the what if that happens. So then he tries to connect it. He clicks on the button and he abandons it halfway. The app should be able to inform him that, okay, he abandoned it halfway, and he should be able to then do what we call retriability. He should be able to retry. It's not a case where he started it and then you save the token for him to say he has started it, and he cannot continue in a future time, a future moment. Where then, basically, as a tester, you want to ensure that the user has the best user experience. He's allowed to make all the mistakes he can make, except, of course, business logic mistakes. Let's say, for instance, user comes onto the platform and chooses as a customer instead of a business. I think there are platforms that have that kind of question. If he chooses that he's a business, that is a big decision. It's a business decision which you have to speak with stakeholders. What does it imply? So if they specify, okay, the user can retry, fine, they can retry. Then the developer has to build. Well, that part is not really the end part. Is not what you're looking at. What you're looking at is, can the user retry? Is he being blocked? It should not be blocked. So if he's blocked from taking a legitimate action, it's a critical bug. If he, like I said before, if he's blocked or he has a workaround, it's a high bug. And it's sounding small, critical bug, high bug. Well, I'll give you an instance. I once were working on a project for I think it was ARTP. ARTP handles the respiratory patients or respiratory patients in UK. So they need a new system. We're building out a new system for them. Part of it's required that they connect their Stripe for their Stripe and Go cardless for what they call this thing, recurrent payments. So, and let's say April of every year, they need to retry. April of every year, they need to be charged on their Go cardless or on their Stripe card. So we had a test environment. We built the test environment, and then the process was not working on the staging environment. And I didn't give a go ahead. And the whole creating didn't give a go ahead. But the CTO and the CEO vetoed the decision and then says, let's go live. We will see how it goes. So we then had a case where the live environment and the staging environment were totally different. So you could test something on the staging environment, it's working, and on the live environment, you really can't test it. So because we skipped a testing process on the staging environment, we don't know what's going to happen on live environment. When it got to the month of the month of the Go Cloud that's being charged, nobody was charged. Absolutely nobody. It looked very simple. Let's put ahead. Looked very simple. It just changed connection strings. But as far as it's not tested, it is not working. That's the point I'm trying to drive at with that example. As far as it's not tested, it's not working. As a tester, you're not giving a go ahead for anything not tested. Even if it's so simple. If it's a button that connects to Netflix, it's very simple. Just connect to Netflix. The developer is showing you how it's working on his local machine. Fine. I'm waiting for it to get to test environment because it might look simple. But if it gets to life, it's going to probably cost the business a whole lot of money. And then you're going to try to put off fire that you could have just avoided altogether. So make cases for your test cases should include what ifs, should include the user clicking on the button and another button at the same time. I think I had a case where the developer team told me, yeah, this is done. It cannot be broken. And I'm like, it's not possible to say something cannot be broken. What did I do? I just went to the upload page, display to them that you also say actually upload a PNG here. I can upload an executable file. And they were like, why would you be uploading an executable file? I said, you're supposed to make cases for that. Because if someone is uploading an executable file, someone is uploading a PDF, you should be able to guide the user on their usage process. I think if you're going through testing, then test applications. There are no better ways than that you have to test applications. I have tested applications, even though I know I wasn't going to get paid. Just out of curiosity, what happens on this? What happens if I install this? What happens if and that's how I discovered Cypress reward examples. We test it to see what happens, and then for a tester for documentation, you would need different applications aside the Postman and your browser. You will need things like Loom and Screenboard. I have Loom on here. So what Loom does for you is, instead of having a meeting with the developer, just can record it, send to him. This other one, I use this basically to take a screenshot and then have it as a URL. So your Screenboard or Snipe and Windows Snip is going to give you a screenshot, but it doesn't have a URL. So in case you're working on platforms where there's no way to upload an image. I think that's basically it for the intro part of this. Tomorrow we'll be looking at QA testing of APIs. We'll have to then use a mock API endpoint and then test those. Do we have any questions so far? Hello? Any questions? Any questions? So I mentioned that a QA test case is divided into two parts. What are the two parts? Hello? What are the two parts of a QA test case? Nobody is asking. Answering. Hello. Oh, is it a case where you don't know, or I should that, and I should repeat it, or you can't hear me? Which one? You didn't hear
So,
me.
sir, please ask the question.
Okay, my question is, what are the two parts of a test document, test case? What are the two types of tests that you see on a test case? It's pretty obvious. I've mentioned it over and over. Do you know I should repeat it?
So honestly, I don't know the answer.
Okay, so I mentioned you have test case document, you have the positive test cases, right? And then you have your negative test cases. Right? Hello.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I got it. Thank you very much.
Okay. What are the positive test cases and what are the negative test cases? What are the positive test cases? Do you know, or should I repeat it again? Do you know? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what positive test cases are?
No idea, sir.
So positive test cases are the test cases are verified that the system does what is expected to do. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
So what are positive test cases?
If I'm not mistaken, I heard you said it's when the file does what is programmed to do. If I'm not mistaken.
Beautiful. Yes, you're correct. Okay. So what are the negative test cases?
So I'm not sure, but I guess it should be when the app does what it's not supposed to.
Okay. Kind of. Yes. You are checking to ensure that the app does not do what it's not supposed to do. Yeah, so much in line. Then is the next question I'd like to ask you. So, what are the things you would typically see in a test document? I, yeah, I mentioned something about expected outcome and stuff like that. So that's a hint. What will be seen in a test document? Okay, let me retrace it. So for a test document, the test case document, what you want to have is first part, the test you're doing. So it's more like a description or title, description. After description, you have expected outcome. Then you have actual outcome. Then the next column, you can next one, you can name it comment or issue. So it's just more like a description of the issue or comment. You can also use it for screenshots of the program. So QA basically is, does the expected outcome match the actual outcome? Whether it's negative or positive, you are checking, does this expected outcome match the actual outcome? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can someone aside link, can someone tell me the types? Can someone tell me the types of tests that we have? Hello? Hello? Anybody?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, so can anybody tell me the type of test we have?
Sorry, sir. I think what we will do is maybe give an assignment and engage them most is because it seems like we are having experts, quality assurance experts on the call. So maybe we'll engage them and we'll use it as part of the assessment.
Okay, okay, that's great. Is there a group chat or something? Did you have a group
Yes,
chat?
sir. Very, very well. There is a
Okay,
channel for
no,
the students.
no problem. I will send in a quiz or something. I will send that over to you, sir. Today.
All right, sir.
That's all from me for today. Is it on Saturday? We'll be having a look at QA, what's it called? API testing.
All right, cool. All right, thank you so much, sir.
You're
We
welcome.
really, really appreciate your time. And yes, I'm very sure that the class was very impactful for all the students, and we've learned one or two things from quality assurance. And we'll be looking out to push it further in the next session on Saturday. And yes, looking forward to the assessments. These are the things that will make them to go and research and still learn more about quality assurance. All right. So we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. And
Thank you.
for our students, your mentor was asking if we have any, if you are understanding, and it seems the whole room was quiet. So I want to believe that we are all following. So yes, as the assignment will be dropped, we'll be following suit. And don't forget as well that we have a pending assignment to build our portfolio and connect it to a full stack web application. Anyone having any issue, I think you know my DM, or you can reach out to any of your colleagues that has already done the assignment so you can get to complete it. And yes, without saying much, because I believe we don't have any question because our mentor was asking and there was none. So I
So,
believe at this
sorry,
point,
excuse.
yes.
So, sorry, I was asking if he was projecting a like a PDF, a documents like that on, is it APIs, something? I don't know if you can have the documents also.
No, you can't. I can't share that. I can share something else for you. You get, but I can't share that particular one. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yes, yes, because that particular one is for a project I'm working on, so I can't share it.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.